Hey, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today, let's talk about why app developers need to be focused on the consumer. Okay, so I've been a software developer for nearly 20 years now. God, I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm saying that. Nearly 20 years, right? And over the course of my software career, most of the work that I've done has been in a B2B situation, either as an employee working for another company, or as a consultant working for someone, or as a contractor, or even with Overpass when we do client work for businesses and everything like that. A lot of what we do is B2B, but when I became an app developer, that was the first time I really became a B2C person, where I had to start thinking about things that business owners who operate in that kind of situation have to think about. Right? And it's something I think about a lot, and every so often I try to convey my thoughts on it. And I have very simplistic views of how these kind of things work. Right? So I put together a diagram over here. I've never done a whiteboard here. I've been fiddling around with trying to get it here on the camera, so I hope you guys can see this okay. But so the difference between B2B and B2C, a lot of the work we do with Overpass is B2B. So we have business clients and we do work for them. And then we also do the B2C stuff, which is our apps, trying to get our apps in front of enough people and try to make sure that we make some passive income through that. And I could tell you, the B2C is far more rewarding, but the B2B is a lot easier. So a lot of the companies that I've worked with over the past have been B2B companies, and I've never actually seen the customer at the end. So let me just show you this diagram here, which again is very simplistic. I don't have an MBA or anything like that. I'm an app developer. All right, so we got the customer, and I hope you guys can see this okay. We got the customer and we got the business, and most of the interactions we have is through that. So as an app developer, we're like totally pure capitalists. We're just thinking, especially if you're an indie app developer and you don't have any costs or anything associated with it, you build your app, right, and you try to sell it to your consumer. So you have to think about things that the B2B people might not have to think about, such as, with all those millions of products out there, millions of services, millions of apps, how are they going to find mine, and how am I going to monetize that? And that's, if you're thinking about doing an app at all, and I've talked to so many people who, they want to do an app, but they haven't thought about this one thing. This is the most important thing to the whole process is, how do you get your customer, what can you give your customers and that they will pay for, and also how are you going to make them find it with all that competition out there? How are they going to find it, right? And then you've got the business, and then businesses themselves, like Overpass is a business, they have their suppliers, so they have employees if they're big, or consultants, right? And there's other things in this chain as well, right? So when I was working in my career, I've been an employee working for companies. I've been working for as Overpass as a supplier. I've been a consultant, and even further down. So each one of these entities could have its own businesses. So this supplier has its own employees and its own suppliers, right? So I've actually been a supplier of a supplier of a supplier, where I was so far removed from the customer, it was ridiculous. So when you quote for things, you don't think about, you're not the person thinking about what's the flow of revenue coming up here. But as an app developer, that's all you think about, because you're closer to the process and you're thinking about it. I mean, in fact, as an app developer, you're so concerned with the B2C part, how do you get people to find it? How do you, over this bit, that you're in the same situation as the large organizations are that are trying to push their products out globally. All the movie studios, how do we get people to find this? What's going to be the hook? All this kind of stuff. You're in that same situation, or the same as the mom and pop grocery store. How are we going to get people to find it? But you don't have the benefit of being local and people walking by and seeing your sign. You have to do that. So a lot of times we get pitched a lot as app developers by other companies saying, hey, I can make your life easier. We could be your app developers, or we can do your marketing, or we could do your ASO, everything like that. So which is something that you might be able to help. But for me, I'm always thinking about everything below this, everything below this line here, everything below here is a cost. right? So I always have to, every time you hire a new employee, you got to think, is that employee going to help raise the revenue? Is that going to improve this flow here in some way? Either improve the efficiency or improve the number of products, everything like that. If I go to a supplier, like Facebook ads is a supplier, right? So if I go to Facebook, that's an excellent way to get people in to see your apps. The problem is it's too expensive if this isn't big enough. Like if you don't have enough monetization here, then Facebook ads is not going to help you. So like for me, I've talked about this before. If I go with an ad network and they give me a cost per install of £1 and I'm making 10 cents per user, then that's not going to really make sense unless my motivation is something else like App Store rankings or anything like that. Right. The thing that's always scared me about this, and it's not just before I became an app developer, is that the whole process seems so incestuous. When you talk about any organization, every time I've worked with a B2B company, right, there was this like, it could be a B2B company working for another B2B company, working for another B2B company, right, and at some point there's a consumer at the end, and if the consumer stops paying for whatever reason, it could be like automation, it could be technological improvements, it could be, you know, there's just too much competition, you know, it could be anything, the whole thing breaks down, right? And it's usually this guy here, which is you as the app developer who have to worry about it. So my advice always is to app developers is you're going to get called by people who say, hey, we can sell you this new service, or you need this new App Annie service, or you need this new thing. Right, and it's going to revolutionize your business. It's going to start to flow. They're selling you the dreams, they're selling you the promises, and maybe they could deliver on it, but most of the time, I mean, I know from my situation, every time I hear those kind of pitches, I'm skeptical, which is one of the reasons why I don't pitch it. Like if I'm talking to a client, my first thing going in there is not saying, oh, you know what, your passive income, your dreams will come true, like all this other stuff on the internet. My thing is like, hey, do you know how this is going to work? Because if you don't know how this is going to work, I think you should think about that before we start the app. So anyway, it's very simplistic. You know, like I said, I'm an app developer. I'm a small business owner. That's the way I think about things. And you know, I don't know if that would be helpful or not. You know, for those of you guys just starting off, always thinking about this bit, right? If you, as an indie developer, where you don't have these costs below and you're just thinking about this thing, that's the purest capitalist thing that I could think of. You're building a product and you're selling it to the markets. A product or a service or whatever. But as you try to, if you're doing a service especially, as you have to scale, you have to branch out and do all this other kind of stuff, and you know, it gets messy, and eventually if the cost of this outweighs the cash flow, then you're screwed. And sometimes I'm always just, it's a roller coaster for me. It's up and down and up and down. But anyway, I hope that's been useful today. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think I'm completely wrong. And that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.